Good evening. We're on the WCEG talkradio.com. It can also be watched on your smart TV, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and WCEG Network, Roku. Welcome to our new season of Wisdom Wednesdays. I think last year we had a great season. Talked to a lot of people about a lot of instrumental things. I am your host, William Bill Edwards. For the next hour, I am pleased to have as my first guest of this new season, Ms. Salondia Aveni, which I affectionately call her Nani, Deputy Director of Cultural Affairs, City of South Fulton, who would share with us on the topic of arts in the backyard. How are you doing, Lonnie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Listen, I've been working with you for a long time for Fulton County and in the city of South Fulton. And I know you got extensive background in the arts and things of that nature, but for the first couple of minutes, talk to us about who Salondia Aveni is.
Well, that's a good question. Who am I? I started out as a very young girl in the arts. I actually started out as a dancer in the city closest to my hometown, which is Dothan, Alabama. I am a country girl. I am from Fort Gaines, Georgia. And that has a population of about 3,000 people. So it is very, very small. It's a little town in Southwest Georgia, right on the Chattahoochee River. And I always had a dream, Mayor, to be a star.
You are. You still
get star.
Yeah.
But I started out as a dancer, ballet, jazz, and tap. I joined a high school dance company while I was still in high school. We got to travel all over the country. That sparked my career in the arts. After high school, I graduated. I went to Fort Valley State University. Woo, go Wildcats. Then I was on the college dance team. We didn't have a dance major. It was strictly an extracurricular activity. So I was on the college dance team. And then after college, I moved to Savannah, where I joined a professional company. There we got to travel the world. We performed in Africa. We performed all over the nation. And that company is where I also learned about backstage craft, theater craft, lights, sound, writing lights for a show, staging a show. So I got a lot of training with that professional company. And then when I moved to Atlanta, I started my first gig was with Michael Samanga at Georgia Tech for the Shangdu Festival. And after he saw how I worked, he said, I want you to join my team at Southwest Art Center.
Mm-hmm. I saw Michael about 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah, I saw him in the grocery store. He was shopping.
Oh, wow.
I didn't at first. He called me. I said, Michael, where you been? What's he doing now artistically?
I heard he might be directing something, but I really haven't seen much. He's been really quiet recently. The last time I talked to Mrs. Samanga, it was probably about 3 months ago. He sounded really well, but I don't know what he's doing artistically now.
Okay, all right. Listen, I know that I just kind of want to dive into what your feelings are as it pertains to the topic of this show is arts in your backyard. Mm-hmm. Of how we can take the issue of arts and make it a very productive for the community. Hateville has already started that. Mm-hmm. They have just put their mark on their city as an artsy city, and it's so warm and welcoming and inviting when you come to Hateville. When you can see the art, when you can see, whether it be visual arts or whatever, it's there. What has been your experience, and what do you foresee as a region for us as we develop and embrace this thing of arts and arts education?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Mayor. It's very varied and layered. Number one, I think what we have experienced as a city so far is that the arts are very segmented and they need to come together. We try and strive to bring them together at Southwest Art Center. However, people in our city still don't realize all the offerings that we have in our city. I foresee us growing. I foresee more people knowing what we do and how we do it. But that comes with marketing. That comes with getting the word out. That comes with having more art festivals in our city. Right now, we have the Red Oak Art Festival. That reaches some, but it doesn't reach all. That comes with art strolls through different neighborhoods. That comes with more outreach to our communities that don't necessarily have an art center in their district.
Well, let me go beyond South Fulton. Let me, as a region, what are you seeing things that are being done that we possibly could encompass, and how effective those things on a regional basis been?
On a regional basis, I think we're doing okay. I would probably, if I had to grade us, I would probably give us a B minus. I think, once again, things are very segmented as a region. There are some things that are marketed to a different demographic that is not necessarily us. There are some things that don't reach our communities that are happening all over the city that are not necessarily geared toward us. I think as a region, we could do a lot better as far as arts education and art opportunities for all people, not just one segment of people.
I know that a lot of times when we build, when I was with Fulton County, when we built a structure, I think it was 1%, I think it was, of the total cost went to arts. We began the process of interviewing people to do different kinds of pieces for us. And how has that been effective to us?
It's been, you started the process. However, I don't know how well it's been followed since you have been gone. I mean, it's always a struggle to get funding for the arts. We're always the last thought about, but we're always the first called. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we have to fight every day to get what we need for the arts.
Sometimes people say, well, that's a responsibility of Fulton County. And Fulton County has a big arts, initiative. Of course, they have money than our cities.
Right.
But how do you and others in your field and in other cities, how do you all work in conjunction with Fulton County to get your fair share of any funds that are available for the arts?
Well, of course, you have to apply for the grants that Fulton County offers. It is an application process, so you may or may not be awarded based on what project you present in your application. There is not a whole lot to go around through Fulton County. They only offer so many grants per year, and if you don't get in on that grant cycle, then you miss out. So you have to be ever vigilant and find out, when their deadlines are, what grants you can apply for, what you're eligible for. It's different for, municipalities and nonprofit organizations. Yeah, and then you have to stay informed.
Well, how effective have we been with that? I mean, even with the process of grants, do you have someone that's right now directly involved with the grant situations to ensure that we do get additional monies outside of that which is being budgeted?
Right. Well, as far as I know, we being the city, have contracted a grant writer. I've been working with her the past 4 or 5 months in identifying some grants that we could be eligible for. So these upcoming grant cycles will start to apply for those. But up until now, we haven't really had anyone to say jump in that pool and apply for those grants. Because as you know, we're all so busy doing what we need to do for our specific jobs that we haven't necessarily had time to have someone specifically look into grants, identify them, write the grants, work with finance to get the background information. Hopefully that's changing because like I said, we have contracted a grant writer for the city now. So hopefully we'll see some movement on these because I feel like we are missing out on a lot of not just state money, but federal money that we could be getting for arts programming in arts organizations.
And that's very important because, you can probably don't go so much with what municipalities afford you in a budget.
Right.
And so to go beyond where we need to go, it's very important that we have someone there to look in the issue of grants. Now, arts is just not a pretty thing. Let me go back to something that I've always said, and having to do with our children.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that a child who is involved with the arts makes a better child.
Absolutely.
And I want you to speak on that, but I want, so how do we get there? When we say that, what are kind of artistic programs that's even available or that should be available to help us achieve the goal of bringing excellent children into our community?
Mm-hmm. So right now at Southwest Arts Center, we do offer a broad variety of arts and culture for children. We offer classes. We have 3 class sessions per year, a fall, winter, and spring session. And our classes are offered from age 5 to senior. Our children can take classes in dance, theater, music, visual arts, and also coding. We've added coding to our programming, which I think is very important because we're moving into a technical age, a digital age. We're getting ready to bring our graphics lab back, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
Yes, and our children can now learn graphic design and graphic art and so what's the animation. So we're so excited about that. But bringing those things back and getting the kids back in, because we did lose a lot of kids during COVID, they're coming back in slowly. And also because they've taken arts out of schools, we're trying to get those kids back in, especially in our music programs. We're losing a lot of kids just to the band. And we're trying to show them that you don't have to just play band, you can be in an orchestra. So we're trying to bring back our youth orchestra as well. But as far as the programs at Southwest Arts Center, our fees are nominal. We're probably still the lowest fees in the city of Atlanta that you can get quality arts education.
Well, I tell you, in the day of building with the South Fulton Arts Center and things of that nature, people would say, we need something for our children to do. And I would continuously reply, we have it.
Mm-hmm.
When you go back and you look at the courses that you've talked about today and others, things is going to be added, they're there.
You're there.
Here's the problem. You don't want to get your kid there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we provide that we come by your house every day and pick your child up and make him come to animation or coding or whatever the case may be. You'd be right on that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, and I'm not trying to be funny, but it's just reality. You don't pick them up on time.
They have to make arts a priority. They'll get them to a basketball game. They'll get them to a football game.
Absolutely, they will.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, they will. And what happens is, when I'm not being facetious when I say don't pick them up on time, there's a responsibility to government for the protection of your child. Mm-hmm. All right. If you're not there we're not a babysitting service.
Right.
If you're not there when you're supposed to be, and I know you guys who work for cities and counties, you don't want to leave the facility, leaving a child sitting on the steps.
Right. We can't do that.
Anything mm-hmm. like that. There's a lot of liability issues that come with that. But I think we need to hear that the arts have been taken out of the schools. That's tragic.
It is.
My granddaughter, Lonnie, my daughter had both her daughters take piano lessons. Mm-hmm. And they went kicking and, fighting and scrabbling and fussing and around. And they came out of that, and my granddaughters played in the band. And I have a granddaughter now who's a freshman at Alabama A&M.
Mm-hmm.
She's on scholarship for band.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand. And I told her before she left, I said, no, I remember when you went to piano lesson, you didn't want to go.
Right.
All right. But your mother made you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then when came time in your senior year for things to do, all these bands down here auditioning, but you could read music.
Right.
Gonna tell you, you can read music. You can get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama A&M this year had 140 freshman band members.
Oh, wow.
To come in. Now, the other one, she went to practice with her bigger sister one day, and the band director, Mr. Bailey, which I think is one of the most outstanding band directors we got. Mr. Bailey found out she can read music.
Oh, wow. Did she get a scholarship too?
She's still in high school, but listen,
okay.
she played in the Creekside band in middle school. She played in high school band. She finally got to Creekside this year. She's in the 9th grade. She is a section leader for the drum.
Oh,
section.
wow.
Now, I say all of that to say is that when we talk about scholarships and how we can get our kids money to go to college, the arts is a great way.
It's a great way
to do things, and then have them to look in. I mean, you remember the year that we had? I think it was Dolores. I think it was Westlake High School who had the 2 boys that went to Juilliard. Do you remember? They had 2 boys that went to Juilliard School of Music, and so I think we have a obligation, so to speak, to, as we go through this, let our people know, let our kids know what the opportunities you have in the world of arts.
Absolutely. And arts just doesn't help with arts per se. Kids that participate in arts, and they've done so many studies on this, kids that participate in arts, their discipline is better, their focus is increased, their reading and math skills are increased, their language skills are increased, because it's not just, music or dance, it's literature, it's poetry, it's visual art. Their mental acuity is increased, their visual acuity is increased. And their taste is increased.
I'm glad you say that, because I'm a very big proponent of an association called the Miracle League here in South Fulton. And of course, the Miracle League are children with disabilities and things of that nature. How can we use, and the Miracle League is a baseball. They do baseball, but it teaches other things. How can we do the same thing? If we can take arts and take children with disabilities and things of that nature, how can we incorporate a program like that into our system to help our kids that have these disabilities?
Well, that's a great question, because I've been thinking about outreach programs now that we're bringing on enough staff to actually, run the facility properly. I want to start increasing our outreach programs, which we had when we were a Fulton County facility. We actually had instructors that would go out to these different organizations and teach classes. So I'm looking to bring that back. I think that would be a great idea, to have an instructor go over and teach those kids with disabilities, because they might not necessarily be able to get to the art center, because then you have to factor in the shuttles and the time and housing them in the classrooms. If we go to them, they already have their facilities. So
go ahead. Suppose I want to come to you as a child and I want to take guitar, but I don't have a guitar. But I don't want to be deprived of my ability to do something. Maybe my family can't afford the rental to go to Jackson Music Store and get a guitar. But are there equipment available to a certain degree?
Yes, sir. Yes, we do have some instruments available. Yes, we absolutely do. And the parent can always speak to us. If they let us know, then we can work something out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's talk for a few minutes about visual art.
Okay.
I mean, listen, every time I go through the city of Atlanta, I see more visual art now than what I've been seeing. Some of it is attractive, and some of it is kind of less than what you want to put on there. But I always said that the guys who paint those things on the bridges are very artistic.
They are.
Regardless whether it be the paint can or whatever. I could never do that. But the visual arts, what does it do for a city? What is it important that it raises the aesthetic value of the city?
Absolutely.
Does it enhance our ability to attract new businesses and economic development? I really want people to understand that arts is more than just drawing on a sheet of paper.
Yes. The arts is a culture there. It brings, as you said, economic and opportunity and attracts businesses to your city. The more aesthetically pleasing your city is, the more people are going to want to come to it. So we do have a public art commission. We are working on getting more murals in the city, getting more permanent public art in our public spaces, getting more public art in our parks. So when people come to our parks, they not only see beautiful nature, but they see beautiful art as well. Yeah.
I was in my hometown of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and there was a street, of course, when I was young that was not so good, but it's been redone. And I tell you, every utility box was painted with some theme on it. And it was almost like that you were walking through the history, or you were driving through the history of that street. And I thought that was so unique to have that. And then but you think about it, if I did that, here come the vandals. But I don't know what they're doing, but there's no vandalism at all with it. I know it's an instilled values of pride, but there was no vandalism. I would like us to see, art everywhere, the kind of art that tells our story about how we got here and everything of that nature, and tells the story about the region.
Yes.
Because we also do. And speaking of the region, do you kind of collaborate with the other cities in the area on arts projects and arts theory?
Well, actually, we have an exhibit in our gallery in the theater, in the Fine Art Gallery right now, where we've collaborated with the city of East Point to present the Orisha exhibition. And that is currently up until October 28th. So that is on view. It's free. You can go into our gallery anytime between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday and view that exhibition. And that was presented by the Public Art Commission of East Point and the City of South Fulton Cultural Affairs.
Well, one thing I can talk about and very happy about it, and that is that we have some outstanding artists in our community.
We sure do.
That live here. I always remember when we first opened the Performing Arts Center, and the mural that's on the wall. As a matter of fact, it's on my wall here at the house.
You have a print?
I have a print.
Yes.
But when I walked in, because I don't get involved with all of that, didn't get involved with all that stuff. I mean, there was a process, and the process worked, and I'm fine. But to find out that the man who did that was almost across the street from the Art Center. So
Art Center, right.
Let's talk about how we can also, through the arts, provide opportunities for people in our community to contract with us. And not only contract with us, but to get their work displayed in a manner that people would know who they are.
Absolutely. So the Public Art Commission is building the artist registry for artists that want to submit to have their public art displayed throughout the city. However, at Southwest Art Center, we do 12 to 14 exhibitions per year that are free. Nowhere in the city of Atlanta, I dare say nowhere in the country would an artist be able to exhibit their work in a professional fine art gallery where the gallery does not charge them to put on an exhibition or take a commission of anything they might sell. Because we are promoting emerging artists, we are promoting established artists, and that's what the Performing Arts Center was built for, to promote our local artists, to promote our African American artists, to promote artists who might not necessarily get a chance to put their work on display in any other museum in the city. Southwest Art Center is here for those artists. All they have to do is submit an artist proposal, go through a vetting process. If you are an emerging artist, you might be displayed in our studio building. If your work is on more of a professional level and you're more of an established artist, then your work would hang in the fine art gallery. And we have premiered so many artists. I don't know if people know Kevin Cole had one of his first exhibitions at Southwest Art Center before he was a huge artist. There used to be a Kevin Cole piece hanging in our studio building over one of the desks. And now look at Kevin Cole. The mural that is in the theater is by Mr. Louis Del Sart, who is not with us anymore, but he's a just beautiful visual artist, just absolutely beautiful. And we have his legacy hanging at the Southwest Art Center. How many people can say that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about your opinion of using these same things we're talking about as it pertains to art inside of our public buildings, and how do we do that? Because there's some liability, I guess, in terms of the artists leaving there for maybe theft or something like that. But how important do you think it is for us to have these kinds of visual arts in inside our public buildings?
It's very important, because when people come to work in office buildings, in office settings per se, they might not have access to visual art. They might not even know what visual art is. They might not recognize it. But if you put visual art in these kinds of civic buildings, in these office buildings, in these spaces where you have your accountant, your finance, your sanitation department, they might walk by and see an artist. They might walk by and see a piece that catches their eye, and that makes them look at it. And it makes them feel a certain way, because art should make you have some kind of reaction or emotion. It should touch you. What's the word I'm looking for? It should spark a response, for lack of a better term. So people that aren't necessarily, they're not going to galleries, they're not going to art exhibitions, they would get to see this. And then it might spark an interest in them to either investigate the artist, find out more about that artist, or find work that looks like that. And then before you know it, they're art collectors.
Salondia, you're saying that because of the fact I do have the public art inside of a building where work is going on, that it could possibly enhance the workload? Or it can
Absolutely. It makes people happy to look up and see a beautiful piece hanging on the wall, or walk down the hall and see a piece that makes them think about something they never would have thought about before.
Well, I think another thing is where you talk about visual, where to put it. And it has to be placed strategically, or so that people can see it and people can. And so we'd have to look into locations among our municipalities. To hang our art. I want to talk about volunteerism a little bit. How is that going? And are we volunteering those artists that I talked about, whether it be visual or whatever? How do we get those artists over to volunteer to help community people who may be taking classes in our facility?
So we do offer opportunities for artists to volunteer at Southwest Art Center. We also offer opportunities for artists to make a little bit of money at Southwest Art Center, whether it be teaching a class or offering a workshop. They can also volunteer in our theater. We get numerous volunteers who want to come to the theater to volunteer as an usher. And then the cherry on top is you get to see a show.
And as we go through all this, what's important to the municipality, as we go into all of this, and we got our budget things coming, all cities got to have their budget. I think there needs to be a strong conversation about the need for arts and arts education for our city or any city in the country. I kind of like, I've been through many budget things in my life, and I kind of like, but I can't say anything about Fulton County. I can't say that Fulton County had a commitment.
Yes.
Had a very strong commitment to arts. And that's why, people over there, they do what they do, and they have the legacy of arts things in their community. What are the kind of arts things that you think would be smart for any city to have that we don't have now?
That we don't have now specifically. You might have stumped me with that one, Mayor. But like I said before, what we don't have specifically are art strolls, more arts in the parks, not just concentrated in specific districts, but spread out throughout the city.
So know what I like to say? I went to Miami. People don't understand. Miami is a very artsy city. It really is.
Art Basel is famous in Miami.
The way you stroll through?
Yes.
Listen, I went there, and it has a nice little, I won't call it a restaurant, but it's a little place you can get hot dogs. And then, it's got all the grass is artificial. You're walking through, and, you got these 8-foot walls that artists have drawn on. All right. And just as you meander through the little park area, that's all that you see.
Okay.
And people are pleasant. They're sitting around. They're taking pictures in front of the murals. And to me, to have something like that is not that costly. But I mean, they built 8-foot wall and people painted on it. Okay. Right. And but they had inside of there, they had places where you could purchase what you saw.
Okay.
and others. And it was such a common thing. And then outside on the sides of the tall buildings, you had murals of Tupac and all along the deal, Biggie Small and all this kind of stuff. And it was just such a calming, fulfilling spirit around. I would like to see us regionally or on a municipality basis that we create that.
Yeah.
And we have existing parks, and that we really can create something like that, like I saw in Miami.
I believe we could.
Yeah.
I believe we could, especially if we come together as a city and really dedicate and plan what we're going to do as far as the arts and really commit to it. It's one thing to plan it, but they have to commit to it as well.
And and working with Parks and Recreation, a park can be an art statement in itself.
Correct.
And I keep going.
Cut in such a way they can be designed, they can be cut and structured and built, like the gardens at Versailles, for example. Right. It's a garden, but it's also a work of art.
And that's what I'm saying. Once again, I go back to my hometown because Florida is always on the cutting edge of a lot of things. And when you drive down the street, you just passed the park.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you how you know it. It's the vibrant color
Mhm.
that sticks out, and no matter what you do,
Mhm.
it knows that it's something there that's good.
Yeah.
Where that most of our people here in this region, we stick parks, building in behind trees
Mhm.
and woods and things of that nature. And it really doesn't stop me or inviting enough of me.
Draw your attention, right? Or make you want to stop and go in.
Yeah. I mean, even a splash pad can be a work of art,
Right.
you know? And I guarantee you those things would draw people to, especially those things like play things that you have in the park that are close to the street.
Mhm.
And I've said to people all the time, let's make our parks vibrant.
Yeah.
Let's get the right color.
Yes.
Let's get the right color. You know, we already
What matters.
yes, we're
Yeah.
already in the woods. You know, so we use a lot of earth tones, and they
Mhm.
kind of in
Mhm.
to. And I don't want to call one out, but take for example, Birdie Park.
Mhm.
Well, let me not say Birdie Park because I never considered to be a park as a gym. And and
Yes.
great facility, nice folk, but it's hidden back in the back. And I think we could do some things,
Yeah.
especially on an artistic basis,
Mhm.
that would lure people
Yep. Back
uh,
there. Yeah.
to come in and be back there.
Wilkerson Mill, that is screaming to be developed.
Right, right. I can remember it. How things are when we did the Performing Arts Center,
Mhm.
and something was missing really, and then we found it, and it was like somebody painted the sidewalk.
Mhm.
You remember they painted the sidewalk so
I
different.
do. Yes.
Yeah, and it's like the accents of the place just escalated
Just
just by
pop of color.
painting
Yeah.
painting the sidewalk.
Mhm.
And so I would like to see us do that and bring in people who are going to help us, citizens who are going to help us to have a vibrant. And I challenge everybody, guys, go to Hateville.
Yeah.
Go to Hateville. I mean, go look at the painted butterflies
Mhm.
and the colors they use it on the buildings.
Mhm.
How Main Street everybody on Main Street has really just brought into the idea. How,
Yeah, and that's what we also have to have, not just government buy-in, but we also have to have citizen buy-in as well.
oh, you definitely do. You
Mhm.
definitely, and it's hard sometimes because they can, art is something you cannot track immediately.
Right,
You
and
know,
it's not always tangible to the
right.
average citizen, and they can't always see the benefit of having it. But let me tell you, it is so needed and so beneficial to our communities. And I think our forefathers and our ancestors, they understood that art was always a part of their everyday life,
hmm hmm
whether it was singing, dancing, going to church. Church is an art.
All right now. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, they always kept that close.
Yeah, I heard you. I
Yeah.
heard you. Uh, so you arts programs usually start reaching children at what age?
3 or 4.
Okay, is that does government have any programs that will challenge a person at 3 or 4 years old?
Right now, we do not. We want them to at least be potty trained before they come into the building.
Well, hey, Lottie, that's an art.
It is. But now we used to have mommy and me classes. That kind of phased out, especially right before COVID hit, and now right after COVID, a lot of people are still wary about bringing, their infants and their newborns into a lot of public spaces. Although we make sure our spaces are clean constantly and sanitized, we still sanitize our rooms after every class. So no one should be worried about coming in to the art center and it not being a clean and safe environment. However, we've been what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to locate another instructor for those classes. We have yet to locate those instructors because, believe it or not, a lot of people want to take class. They don't necessarily want to teach class. And if they can teach it, they might be too busy, or they have small children themselves, or they just have other things happening in their lives now. So finding and retaining instructors has been quite a challenge, to say the least.
Well, I guess too during the school time, and then you revert back over to the summers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that as a whole, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
In terms of having people eligible to do things.
Right. And during the summer, we have different programming. So in the summer, we have our summer camp for 5 to 12-year-olds, and then we do summer programming for our teen population.
What kind of collaboration are you having with the school system, which I think is very important, in terms of doing joint ventures to promote the idea of excellence for our children?
So every year we've been doing this. I want to say this is coming up on the 18th year. Mm-hmm. We do a visual art exhibition and competition. It was sponsored, or it is sponsored by Kevin Cole and the Society. The first one was done 18 years ago. So we still have that visual art exhibition and competition. It's called the Kevin Cole Visual Art Competition and Exhibition. And all the schools in City of South Fulton compete and exhibit their work in this exhibition. And then the Society awards scholarship money for those who are chosen as #1 for their school and #1 overall. So they do first, second, and third place for school, and then they do a first, second, and third place for the overall winner. So those kids get scholarship money.
Yeah. What do you think about this? We have a lot of people come in, and especially fast food restaurants, and mm-hmm. they'll build and they'll paint something really ugly on the side, like get some more chicken.
Yeah, right. A big chicken or something.
Or something on the side. I think maybe that in the future we could look at, as in terms of economic development, those people who have these facilities that's going to be put up, that instead of eating more chicken on the side of your place, the whole wall, that you make a visual art.
Right. Put up a nice mural.
And pay for it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it would add value. I'm not gonna call it
value, but it would also show your community that you are invested in that community. If you're putting, a fast food restaurant in our neighborhood, for example, give a nod to John Lewis, because that's where he lived.
Yeah. Well, I ain't gonna call no names. Well, we got a fast food restaurant that I went to another restaurant to eat and look across the way, and all I saw was a chicken advertisement. Mm-hmm. I ain't calling no name, but it would be a whole lot better if I could look over there and see some nice visual, public art.
Right, a testament to what that community has done and has brought.
Of course it is, and maybe we'll get there, Lonnie. I
hope so. I know every city on the rise.
That's absolutely right. I know everybody wants to advertise and everybody wants to show what their product is, but I think that you could do that through art.
Well, absolutely.
It's been happening. Coca-Cola does it very well.
Yep, McDonald's does it well as well.
Does it well also. So we're glad. I'm just glad that years ago when Emma Darnell decided that she wanted to have something for the arts in South Fulton, and she built that first building over there, the Arts and Crafts building with the black box.
Yeah, and you were also instrumental in that.
Yeah, but I came a little late. When I came in, we had another piece of land over there, mm-hmm. and I decided that we don't have a performing arts theater.
Right.
and we endeavor to put the performing arts data in there. And a lot of people don't know is that, let's take the Wolf Creek Library.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most finest pieces of art is in that library.
Yep.
And we made sure that let's take this, the library itself
Mm-hmm.
is an art piece.
It is.
The way
architecture, right.
The way it's designed. You
Mm-hmm.
come in there, and I love the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That structure between the bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
I love that structure, tree with the bed and things that they should, and it makes a difference. So I guess I would just say to any municipal government, and South Fulton, you're on the rise, and you're doing well. You just got to keep going. But I would say any municipal government, embrace the arts. I mean, you'll be surprised at what it would do for you.
It's a necessity.
If you just embrace the arts.
Absolutely.
But I mean, embrace the arts. When you go in the revitalization of places like Old National,
Mm-hmm.
bring the arts with you.
Yes.
And I guarantee you that it begin to change the whole attitude about how people feel and do about their community.
Yes.
Well, you're doing a good job, Lonnie.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. I'm so glad that you're in the driver's seat. I know it ain't always easy, but you just got to keep motivated and keep going. Remember that when you get down, regardless of who you are and what you're doing in your endeavors as leading the arts, remember that it's all about service.
Yes, sir. It is. It's all about service. It's not about us. It's about the people we serve. And we all have to keep that in mind.
So I would say to you, if you want to be the greatest director of arts personnel in any city, just serve. And that's all. and that's
I take that. I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you so much.
All you have to do. The city of South Fulton is doing well in terms of arts. I have to take people like Catherine Rao.
Yes.
She gets it.
She does. She's a huge supporter, and she gets it. Thank you for saying that, because she's been such a saving grace for us at Southwest Arts Center, as we are in her district.
She gets it, man. I mean, she got it when she went out there on her own and painted a sign say Sandtown.
Yes. Yes.
She gets it.
Yeah.
She truly understands.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to say that about her, because some people just, I guess I should say election year, but it's the truth. But
yes. Facts are facts. Yeah,
she understands, and she has done a good job in terms of trying to do what she can, because she's the only one I know that talks about murals.
Yes.
And I want to give her credit for that, and we appreciate the great job she's doing in the arts. And she's got the Performing Arts Center and the other center. Mm-hmm. I think this is her district, are they?
Yes.
Yeah, so she understands. Well, anyway, girl, I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing what you have done and that you continue to do.
Well, I can't sit on my laurels anymore. I have to do what I got to do to help the good people like yourself to achieve the goals that you want to achieve.
Yes,
so
sir.
We appreciate you. Yes. And we got to get you back on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some more arts people from other cities.
Okay.
And I think I get somebody from Hateville next. Mm-hmm. And to talk about what they're, I mean, it's obvious in Hateville.
Yeah, what they're doing and how they've been able to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they moved that old railroad, that church by the railroad station, and put it over in that park.
Right.
Yeah. And if you go back, you have to go back in the side roads of Hateville. There's art where you can't see it, but it's back there.
Right.
And so, I know Hateville is landlocked.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had the bright idea, say, okay, we're landlocked, so let's make sure that we embrace the arts and make our city our place in our city. And
Right.
hats off to them. They have done an outstanding job.
Well,
Okay.
have many rivers to cross, but we will keep on keeping on.
Well, as long as you're on the float, as long as you're floating on the river, you ain't trying to, go under. I think that once again, you've done a great job, girl.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. And once again, thank you for being here. All right.
Absolutely.
We're the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group, where we speak life into the community. You need to subscribe to our channel, WCEG Network, or follow us and connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and even Roku. The topics and opinions are those of the show host and the guests, and not WCEG Network. Thank you for your continued support. And remember, in all you're getting, get an understanding.